Namaste and welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity. We, on this beautiful February morning, are going to answer another question from the jar. My questions tend to move on me, as if they do it on their own, as if I have nothing to do with it. Just joking. Anyway, here's the question. I'm going to have a brief look at it. Oh, I can't make out this writing. Oh, this is a hard one. I don't even remember saying this, but okay. I'm going to take a deep breath first of all. And the question I received is, what do you mean that life is, or life circumstances are a projection of what is inside? Sorry. What do you mean life circumstances are a projection of what is inside? And what I mean by that is basically, what do I mean by that? No, what I mean by that, oh, my cat's going to come and join us here. I mean basically is that often life will reflect what we're experiencing inside. Life is really more of an inside game than an outside game. We have a tendency to look outside and see that life is doing something to us. And we don't see internally how we are perceiving it and how our perceptions and how our actions according to our perceptions, especially our reactions, can cause life circumstance in a sense. So it's a cause and effect type of thing, karma, because karma is all about action, but it's a cause and effect, right? Whatever we do, be in the form of behavior or a word or energy or even a thought, can have an impact on how we perceive life. So the life circumstance we're experiencing are basically a perception of what, of how we perceive life. So if I, for example, have had very negative attitude brought on by, I'm not judging, just brought on by circumstances in life never going our way, and we come to believe that that's the way it's going to be, and this is what we deserve, and we have that internalized in a core belief or a samskara. When we look out at the world, we're going to see the world feeding us what we believe, right? We're going to notice, first of all the negative things, because subconsciously what the mind is going to try to do, because the ego mind wants to be right? More than anything else, it wants to be right. So what it's going to try to do is make sure to validate that it's right, look for evidence that it's right. So we automatically, without realizing it, go in search of things that would fit our mental schemata, fit this idea we have of ourselves, fit this idea we have of life, and we collect those circumstances and store those so that we have evidence for believing why life is hard, for believing why things never go our way. Right? That's what we tend to do. We don't do it on a conscious level. We don't set out to be miserable. We just set out to explain why we're miserable. And we look from circumstances. And so in that way, life circumstances are basically a projection of what we're experiencing inside. That is one way of looking at it. And you can look at it in a more esoterical way as well, is that thought is an energy form that is quite powerful. We do not understand consciousness. We don't understand the power of mind. We don't understand this energy we have within us. We just don't understand it, and we don't try to understand it either, unfortunately, which is something I think science should investigate. But because we don't understand it, we don't realize its power. So, there's a saying out there now, where attention goes, energy flows. And, the power of the law of attraction and the power of manifesting and intention. All those things are out there. And it's still considered a little bit woo by many. But we don't understand energy, so we don't know how entangled we are with our energy, and how that energy, if I have a thought and I have a thought here, how that entanglement may lead to something occurring out there. So there's quantum physics exploring that to some degree. They don't call it that. They don't call it the law of attraction, and they don't call it, projection of what we got going inside. But we don't know, right? We don't know. if that's actually the way it is. But regardless, just our perception alone, if we are thinking negatively, we're going to start noticing negative things more so than we're positive. And you know, if you're ever having a good day and things just seem to be, oh, I'm feeling good today, everything just seems to come landing on your lap. All the blessings of life just seem to land on your lap. And that has to do with our attitude. So I do believe, even more so than thought, is that power of feeling. What are you feeling? What are you experiencing inside? How high is your energy? Just be mindful of that and know that, what we perceive is, we're going to manifest it in one way or the other. Not just esoterically, but existentially, but through our psychology, through our persistence and our persevering. If we really believe something's going to happen, we're going to do what we can. And just be mindful that we're collecting evidence of whatever we're seeing out there. It's actually a collection of evidence to prove whatever we have core belief-wise. So the whole goal of yoga is to dig down deep, excavate those core beliefs that are stopping us from feeling free and having the life experiences that we need to deal with the samskaras, because a purified soul is going to see a life totally different than a soul that is tainted and poisoned with these samskaras that are so debilitating to what should be life affirming, right? So if we are mindful of that and we work on purifying and clearing out all the junk that's getting triggered, that's causing this negativity, which leads to a negative perception, which leads to evidence collecting to prove that everything is negative. If we clear what's inside that's leading to all that, if we purify, get rid of those samskaras, look at our core beliefs, evaluate them, reconstruct them, see how they're tangled up in the energy from things we've suppressed and repressed over our lives, how they're tangled up in this idea we have of who we are, which is just a psyche and it's not who we are. And if we can get through all that, then the world we see will change, right? The world we see will change. The other thing about that might be this again, we don't understand consciousness, right? We don't understand reality to an extent. And so often people, you'll hear the quantum physicists coming out with this new idea that it's not so new. Max Planck in the 20s came up with it to some extent, and people build on it. But the matrix theory about everything is a simulation and we're just watching it. In that case, you'd say, well, life is a projection. Life circumstances are a projection of what we got going inside because we're creating it. Our consciousness is creating it. So that's always a possibility. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's so much we don't understand, so we can't discount the fact that life is just a projection of what we have going inside. And then evidence is starting to slowly and gradually point in that direction that it is, in so many different ways. Psychological evidence, quantum physics evidence, spiritual evidence. So life is a projection of what we got going on inside. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have an amazing day. Namaste.